as well.
Okay. So somewhere you'll probably have to click agree to record.
Okay, great. Yeah, all good.
So welcome to Beyond the Blue 26 podcast.
Thank you, Emily. Good to be here.
Yeah, good to meet you. And so Ibiza Tai Chi,
Yes.
Patrick Hewlett.
Yes, Ibiza Tai Chi. I established Ibiza Tai Chi last year in 2025. Yeah, we're 2026 now, 2025. And I moved to Ibiza in 2021, just after the lockdowns. And
Right.
and I noticed there was nobody really teaching Tai Chi or Qigong on the island. Nobody was really teaching it. So
You're gone.
Qigong, yeah,
Right.
Qigong, which means Qigong means energy work or energy
Oh,
skill.
right. Okay.
Yeah, Tai Chi actually refers to a philosophical concept in
Yeah.
Taoism. So the Qi of Tai Chi isn't the same as the Qi in Qigong. It's different. So Tai Chi refers to a philosophical concept. Qigong specifically means Qi energy. Gong means skill or work, something like that.
Yeah.
So nobody was really teaching Qigong or Tai Chi on the island, and it seemed like there was a huge hole in the market. And also, the other side of my life, I've worked in film and television since my 20s, and but that the industry has been getting worse and worse and worse in England, and uh, and the last couple of years just really not happening. And in life sometimes doors keep closing,
Hmm.
and it's not just me. Many friends been in the industry 20, 30 years, and well-established producers, they've had to move into something else. So I thought, well, this is the right time to launch Ibiza Tai Chi. Ibiza is, of
Hmm.
course, well known apart from partying as a wellness destination. There's a lot of yoga retreats and
Yeah. So I've only ever partied in Ibiza, apart from when I was, well,
good for
many,
you.
many years ago when I was at uni, we used to go there. And afterwards, yeah, and it's kind of like all week, just stay up all weekend and go to space and stuff.
Yeah,
Um, but when I was
cool.
pregnant with Jack 20 years ago, obviously I didn't do it then. We stayed in a lovely hotel and it was totally different. But I just love the vibe in the air. It's just like a party kind of vibe. You don't have to be partying, you can just feel it. I just
It's
love
very
it. So,
free, isn't it? There's a
but
real sense.
retreats, I suppose that's something you do
Yeah.
kind of, that's kind of in now, isn't
Yes, I am
it?
in the beginning putting a retreat together in the springtime. The dates are
Wow.
yet to be confirmed, and that will actually not be a Tai Chi retreat. That will be a Qigong retreat
Right.
um, on what is called it will be on the wood element. So in Chinese medicine, a lot of Chinese philosophy and Tai Chi is rooted in well, it's all rooted in Taoism, which is the kind of
Hmm.
spiritual tradition of China. So
Hmm.
Chinese medicine, acupuncture, kung fu, tai chi, what's it called, feng shui. All of this has come out of Taoism, basically.
Hmm.
And one of the things that came out of Taoism is the concept of the five elements, or the Wu Jing, or five phases. And
Right.
these will relate to the Chinese have 5 seasons, not four. They have 5 seasons. And also, it relates to the organs in the body. So, the
Yeah.
liver, for example, relates to the wood element and it relates to the springtime. And so, this springtime in Ibiza, I will be doing a wood element springtime Qigong retreat. That's what I'm going to be doing.
So can beginners go, or is it
Yes,
completely
absolutely. Yeah,
beginners?
absolutely. So, the way that I teach my retreats, unless it's specified otherwise, is that they are open to all. And
Mhm.
even more experienced qigong practitioners will find something very, very beneficial in the way that it is taught. There are some very specific techniques that go into this qi. If you think of qigong like musical scales,
Mhm.
so you have a qigong. You can have qigong for, say, you have a weak heart or a weak stomach or something like that. You can do medical qigongs, which are specifically designed to help strengthen and heal that particular organ.
Mhm.
If you do martial arts, there are qigongs for making your kicks and your punches very, very strong. Shaolin monks very famously demonstrate a lot of these so-called hard qigong styles.
Mhm.
There are qigongs for intellectual development, qigongs for spiritual development, many qigongs. This one, but they're like musical scales. So if you think of Da, 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 da. So, say you want to practice a particular musical scale, you work on a particular qigong that will give you the key. Say, for example, like musical key that you're working in. So, the wood element has particular characteristics, a lot to do with working with the tendons,
Mhm.
the ligaments, the fascia, all of these, and the liver, very, very strongly connected to the liver. So we work on these elements doing that qigong, different from say a water element qigong, which relates to the kidneys, the winter time, and so yeah, so there it's a bit like I want to learn the key of C or D or G. I'm going to practice that and practice that and practice that. And then there is some argument to say that, for example, something like Tai Chi is really a symphony of all these different Qigongs. It's not entirely
Right.
accurate, but you can sort of look at it like that. Tai Chi is a kind of very sophisticated form of Qigong. It's one way of looking at it. I'm sure some people will definitely disagree. Um, but so yeah, so I'm doing a wood element Qigong in the spring here in Ibiza.
Wow. So it's like a frequency.
You could look at it
Kind
like that. Yes, you can look at it like that. Yes, it is. It's some, yes, you can look at it like that.
so with sound bath, you have the frequency and it takes you.
Yes, so you can look at it like that. If you think about if we go to the seasons again, if you think about the winter time, I think it would be fair to say, although it sounds a bit abstract, you could say the winter has a slower frequency to say the
Right.
summer. Okay,
Okay. And
you
what's
think
the
about
fifth season?
the fifth season. So they have the fifth season is the summer divided into two. So you have
Right.
early summer, which is the fire
Okay.
element and the
Yeah.
heart, and you have late summer, which is the spleen and the pancreas, and the earth element. So that's late summer. And then you go into autumn, which is the metal element, and
Right.
it's the lungs in particular.
Mhm.
And then you have winter, which is the water element, kidneys predominantly, spring, wood, and then the summer, fire, heart.
Mhm.
Yeah, so these are the different associations that we have. Yeah, and I suppose you could say it's a different frequency. So the winter time, everything slows down.
Mhm.
If you look to nature, animals slow down. The trees stop producing so many leaves. They stop producing leaves entirely. All of the energy moves into the deep part of the tree. So
Mhm.
there's a sense of things slowing down. So yes, you could say a frequency in the sense that the winter time is more slow. The summertime or the springtime, everything is going. The animals are running around. Everything's going for it. So yes, you could make that correlation. Yeah.
Yeah. So is it disease kind of or, you know, due to stress basically going into different parts of the body? So it's stress, it's like a psychological, physical kind of ailment to each kind of body part.
Well, that's right. So in Chinese medicine, each organ in the body has many, many associations with it, but without it can get ludicrous. So we'll just stick to a couple of simple
Mhm.
associations, and I'll pick the liver again because it's an easy one. So in Chinese medicine, the liver, the positive. So this is the wood element. Now, what does wood do? Wood obviously, yeah, wood grows. It grows. If you think about what a tree does, a tree grows. The roots grow down, the branches grow up towards the sky, and it
Yeah.
grows slowly and steadily to to full fruition, and then eventually creating fruits.
Mhm.
Now, in the liver, we have the liver is constantly regenerating. It is known as the organ that regenerates. Okay, a bit like in the when the tree loses its leaves, and then in the springtime we get renewed growth. This is like the liver.
Right.
So the emotions that are associated with the liver, the positive aspect of the liver, when your liver, they say when your liver energy is balanced and working well, your ability to move forward in life and go forward with direction is good. Is good. If your liver is and the energy is not working well, you can feel blocked. You can feel like you can't essentially that you feel blocked as if the tree roots were hitting some kind of stone or concrete underneath and they can't get through, or there's some kind of resistance. Now, the negative emotion associated with that is frustration and anger. So
Right.
frustration is and anger is expressed so they say in Chinese medicine, from the liver. The positive aspect is with growth in relationships, be they human, be they platonic or
Hmm.
romantic relationships. It's the same thing.
Mm.
If the wood element is very, very unstable, it's very difficult to grow that relationship over time because trees take time to grow. If it is stable, balanced, stable and balanced, of course, this works with all the other elements and organs in the body, then that relationship can develop in its own natural and harmonious way, be it romantic or platonic, that
Mm.
relationship. Yeah. So it's not
Wow.
just, so also it's not just, we don't just practice a wood element or a metal element or a water element qigong because we have disease. No, it's a way of so it's because it's so connected to Taoism, the spiritual tradition of China, and the
Mhm.
Taoists, the way that they viewed the a human being was really a microcosm of actually the entire universe. So, right down to the cycles that we have on planet Earth, the same. They say that we have these cycles in our body, both in a daily or even hourly rhythm, but also the larger cycles of life. The springtime of when you're young to the winter of when you're getting older, and this
Mhm.
also it correlates with the organs. So actually doing, even if you're in good health, doing these practices, particularly in accordance with the season, so doing a wood element liver practice in the springtime, you are going with the flow of what is happening and at that time of year.
Mhm.
It's not to say you can't do a water or a fire element. It absolutely you
Yeah.
can, and there's reasons to do that. But going with the flow of it is going to sync you up better with that time of the year,
Mhm.
and will then help the cycle move fluidly from the wood into the fire, and then from the fire to the earth to the metal, into the water and back
Yeah.
again. So it's a way of harmonizing with nature.
Right. So the chakras and Reiki, is that similar thing as well? Because you've got the different, obviously the different chakras relate to different parts of the body as well. It's probably a similar kind of thing,
Yes.
isn't it?
So in Taoism,
Mm.
there are there are three well-known chakras. Yes, there are three well-known chakras. They don't use the term chakra, which means a wheel in Sanskrit.
Oh, does it?
Uh, yeah, it means a wheel. In a chakra is a
Oh,
wheel.
does it? Because when I was 16, I had a clairvoyant say, "Beware of two wheels." So I've always been kind of worried about
Oh,
bikes.
oh
There
yes,
might
yeah,
have been
yeah.
wheels.
Yes, yes. I
Those,
don't think she meant be wary of yoga, but that could be a way
no,
of it'll be aware of your chakras. Yeah.
beware of those two
But the
chakras.
Sanskrit, the direct translation is a wheel, and in Taoism, yes, they have chakras, and they are called dantians. They're yeah, dantians in the body, and there are three primary ones. Sorry, there's no, they are called. Is it just a tien or is it a dantian? Essentially, there are three energy centers. There's
Hmm.
one which corresponds to roughly the second chakra in yoga, but there's one in the lower abdomen below the navel. There's
Hmm.
one in the heart, and there is one in the center of the brain. These are the primary ones. Then
Right.
there are smaller more. Now, trying to map the Indian yogic chakra system onto the Chinese chakra system, yes, you can try and do it. In my opinion, it's better to keep the models separate. Okay. It's very, I used to do it a lot when I was younger, trying to correlate this with that, and even Hermetic Western magical principles with Eastern stuff. It can turn into a bit of a chop suey. So
Hmm.
I recommend that it's if you're a yogi and that's what you've studied, try and put that down for the moment. Try and forget that model and work with the Taoist model. And likewise, if I'm going to a yoga class and they're telling me to work with the chakras, I will try to abandon that model and just work
Yeah.
with this
I
one. But
wonder
of
if we
course,
can.
they correlate. So three primary energy centers, and they all, yes, relate to different parts of the body. Yeah,
Yeah.
different parts of the
So I'm
body,
just
different.
looking at this book, which I wonder if it's all in that book.
The Yoga Sutras of
Yoga.
Patanjali. Well, that's the classic. I mean,
Oh,
that
is
is
it?
the Patanjali. Yeah, that is the absolute classic. The Yoga Sutras, where he the eight limbs of yoga, as they're
Right.
called, are described, and Yeah, I mean, the equivalent that you would have in Tai Chi, for example, would be something called the Tai Chi Classics, which were a series of writings that between, well, they get lost a bit in the midst of time, but let's say most of them were written in the 16, 17, and 1800s, and then they were lost. And then they were discovered in the back of a salt store or something in a part of China. This is similar to the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, much, much later, of course. Um, but they're really principles of how to practice. They're principles
Right.
of how to practice Tai Chi, basically. Yeah.
And there's
There
a
are,
lot of information in that book. I mean, you know,
oh, yeah,
it's very deep, isn't it?
it is very,
You have a
very
degree in it.
It is very deep. But the chakras, yes, we have them. We have them. They are a bit different to the yogic chakra, to the chakras that they have in yoga. Three primary ones. The one that you develop first of all is the lower one, which is below your navel. And this is
Yeah.
similar to yoga. It's basically to do with survival and to do with physicality, sex. Physicality is probably a good way of putting it, very strongly connected to
Hmm.
the earth, and also to the physicality of your body. And this one is worked with first and made strong first, because without a healthy body, it's very difficult to do anything else on top of it. So the Taoists are quite practical about this, which is the Taoists where Tai Chi, Qigong, all this stuff came from. First, strengthen and stabilize the physical body and your connection to the earth. Once that is stable, then you move up to the next chakra, which would be in the heart. Now, this governs all your relationships with
Mm.
everything, including the relationship with yourself. And it's very strongly related to your emotions as well. um, and this second energy center up here, the heart center, works as a kind of transforming station. So it will
Mm.
take the energy from the lower energy center, the lower dantian, and it will help transform it into a different kind of energy, which then goes up to the one in the middle of the brain, this so-called upper dantian. And this is all to do with time and space. Yeah, essentially it's all to do with time and space. The more esoteric psychic aspects of Taoism are done generally through the upper dantian. Yeah. So but it's also connected very strongly to yeah, I mean, that's really the best way I can describe it.
So you
Space and
have to believe in the soul and everything.
you don't have to believe in anything.
Oh, don't you?
No, I try and get people not to believe in.
Oh,
No,
do you?
the Taoists are very practical about stuff. It's a very feeling. Tai Chi and Qigong
Mm.
is very, very strongly feeling based. Now, there are some traditions which use visualization, but uh, it is a feeling based system. There is a wisdom in the body. The Taoists would say that the body doesn't lie to you. The mind lies many,
Hmm.
many times. We trick
And the body
ourselves.
keeps a score. So all that stress would be kind of like,
That's right. Or
there's
if
no
you listen
pain
to
and
your gut feeling,
yeah,
if you have a
and the
gut
gut and
feeling
the
about something,
brain
well,
and
what is that? What
connected.
exactly is that? Everybody knows what we're talking about, even the most hardened materialists and skeptics. Everyone knows what a gut feeling is. You walk into a situation, or there's a situation coming on, and you get that feeling, there's something not right here. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the body trying to, now that isn't a mental thing. You don't walk into a room and you go, oh, and I'm sort of, it's like there's a feeling that comes on. So the
Mm.
Taoist practices are very feeling based, and it's designed to put you in contact with the body, sometimes called the wisdom body, the body.
Mm.
Um, and the mind or the brain is not such a big deal in Taoism, actually. Of course, it is, but they don't see as consciousness being generated within the brain. They don't see it like that. No, they actually see that consciousness, that we are an aspect of consciousness. We are an aspect of divinity, and that is expressed actually more through the heart mind, as they call it. Yeah,
Yeah,
through
so
the
there's near-death experiences where they're kind of, their brain's switched off, really, isn't it? And then they see
yes.
everything that's going on. That kind of proves that consciousness is
That's right.
outside the
My
brain.
mother had one of those.
Oh,
Yeah, my mother
really?
had a near death experience. Yeah,
Right.
before I was born, but she told me about it. And yes, I mean, again, with me, it's not a question of belief. I don't need to believe anything. My own experiences in my life have confirmed to me that consciousness is not just generated in the brain, that
Hmm.
consciousness is something that is part of, I guess, what you would call the universe. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's what my experiences tell me. Yeah, it's not a belief system. It's I know this to be true.
Yeah,
Mm.
right. Gosh. So, so do you do it every day, every morning, wake up and do it kind of at sunrise?
Yeah, I try to. Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Of course, life sometimes gets in the way, but
Yeah.
generally, yeah. I mean, I start, so my sort of typical days, I will start the day first off with meditation. That's the
Hmm.
first
Yeah,
thing I
great.
do. So I will do a minimum of 15 to 20 minutes meditation. That I just have that's just a thread that, in my opinion, is it needs to be maintained as best you can. And I think okay, I say everybody, of course there are exceptions, and of course if you've got young kids and it's
Hmm.
it's a different thing. But for me, at least doing 15 to 20 minutes meditation every day, that is the foundation. Well, I say that's the foundation. That yes, it is really. And then from that, I will then do anything from between 40 minutes to 4 to 5 hours. It depends how much time I have. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a lot of material to practice. I don't just practice Tai Chi, I practice other other arts that fall under this umbrella in Taoism of what are called the internal arts or the internal school. The Neijia, Ne means inside, Jia is like a school. So the internal school, Tai Chi is the most famous, but there are other ones like Bagua,
Hmm.
Baguazhang, and Xing Chuan. And then there's the Qigongs and Neigongs. These are all part of this internal system or internal school. And I've been studying now since I was a teenager, so I have a
Right.
lot to practice. And if I don't have, if I've managed to pay all my bills and do all my things and do all the practical things that need to be done in life, then I
Hmm.
will practice for many hours a day. It is a great joy and a pleasure to be able to do that. Now, of course, life happens. I
Yeah.
can't do
You
that,
don't
and I
have all
can't
that
just do
time.
4 or 5 hours every day. So I will do a minimum. The minimum that I've found works for me is 15 minutes meditation and 15 minutes what's called zhang shuang or standing practice. It's like some people say it's a meditation. You could sort of argue it is, but I find basically 15 minutes seated meditation, 15 minutes standing meditation. Let's just call it
Hmm.
that, for want of a better word. And that's pretty good. If I have more time, I will do a lot more. And then in the evening, of course, yeah. And under full
Right.
moons and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Wow. And where do you do that outside or do you just do it anywhere in?
Outside, well, I have outside if it's not too cold. I mean, again, you need
Yeah.
to be quite practical with these things. If
Hmm.
there's an aesthetic, isn't there, that we think with Tai Chi, or on top of a beautiful mountain or by the beach with the
Yeah.
wind blowing and in your silks. It's
On
actually
the
a very
rocks.
bad idea. It's
Oh,
actually not such a good idea
no.
to practice Tai Chi when it's very windy, because
Yes.
the wind in Chinese medicine carries what they say pathogens. So when you're doing Tai Chi, like you're doing yoga, your body is opening up. The body's getting warm for one level,
Right.
but the joints, the pores of the skin, all of that starts to open up. Now, if you're opening your body up and you're standing in a cold draft or a cold wind, it might look great for Instagram or YouTube, but it's
Hmm.
terrible for your system, unless I should say you're at a certain level where you can seal what's called your Wei Qi. Wei
Oh,
Qi
right.
means defensive energy, and it's a layer that sits just under the surface of the skin. And it's like there used to be an advert for Ready Brek in England where you'd have the Ready
Yes.
Brek and then you'd see the orange glow go all around
Yeah.
the person. This is like your Wei Qi.
Right.
Now, when your Wei Qi is a protective shield, it stops pathogens getting in, both germs and things like that, but also emotional stuff. So to take it to another esoteric level. So if the Wei Qi is
Right.
weak, if you go and do Tai Chi in the wind, I guarantee you will get sick. Make your
Hmm.
hair wet at the same time. Yeah, it's not going to be good.
Hmm.
If you're very strong, your Wei Qi is well developed, you can do Tai Chi like Wim Hof in the Antarctic or something, and you haven't got a problem.
Right. So
So
does he practice all this as well?
Well, he does. I mean, he's more from a yoga background and what's called a tumo. Tumo is a Tibetan
Okay.
Buddhist practice, similar to Qigong, designed to heat very strongly up the body. It's not just that; it's also to do with breaking down certain psychic blockages in the system. But he does have some Qigong. So there's one that you see Wim Hof do where he's in a sort of horse stance after the
Mhm.
swimming, and he does this thing like that. This is a sort of Qigong. I haven't done enough Wim Hof to really comment at any great depth about it. But yes, he does have yes, some of these practices. You need to. You can't just go into a freezing lake without any kind of practice of knowing what you have to do. There there are specific techniques. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he does incorporate some Qigong type movement into the Wim Hof method. Yeah.
Wow. Do you cold water swimming and
I actually do. Yeah,
do
I do. I don't live very far from the beach here. I'm up
right?
in North Ibiza,
Hmm.
near Bennyras Beach.
Nice.
Yeah, it's lovely. And I do like to swim throughout the year. I mean, it doesn't get freezing cold. I mean, here in the winter, the lowest it will get is maybe 12 degrees Celsius in the sea, 14, something like that. So it's cold, you know about it, but it's not 2 degrees, it's not zero. So I have done some ice plunges,
Hmm.
but I find that is good. It's good for my system to to do 5-10 minutes swimming in that 12 to 14 degrees. Yeah, I do.
Not too extreme for the
Not
body.
too extreme, not too extreme. That's another thing in Taoism
And
is
dangerous as well, unnecessary, I'd say.
can be, can be. Yeah, avoiding
Right.
unnecessary extremes. This is another part of Tai Chi and Yin Yang, actually. So when
Oh
you go
yeah.
to the extreme of something, the seed of its opposite starts happening. Um, so in Tai Chi, when you, for example, something very simple like transferring the weight, if you transfer the weight to one leg,
Hmm.
that weight is all going to go into that leg, and there'll be a moment where all of that weight has gone into that leg, and and this is like if you think of a Tai Chi symbol with the S and
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
black and the white and the two dots, when all the weight has gone into one leg, this is one side of that diagram becoming more becoming more active, and
Yeah.
then in the seed of that, the opposite of the transferring of the weight then grows out of that. So the yin turns into the yang, and the yang turns into the yin,
Mm.
if that makes any kind of sense. Um, but if you go too much to the extreme, if you don't transfer the weight enough from one leg to the other, then you're not creating a balanced system. And Tai Chi is really about balance from the very physical sense right the way up
Hmm.
to as high or as esoteric as you want to take it.
Hmm.
Mm.
And can you kind of cure pain? Do people come to you with like painful bits? I've
Yes.
got plantar fasciitis in my foot,
Oh, I've just
and
been
then
working with
oh
someone
really?
over. Yeah, so I've just had a new client. So I have
Oh.
yeah, so apart from actually I haven't been teaching so many group classes this season, this winter season, because I've been
Mm-hmm.
backwards and forwards to London a lot. I have private clients that I work with and private clients that have specific health problems or health needs.
Right.
So yes, I do work with individuals that have I mean a range of different ailments. So, for I'll give you an example of a client I've been working with for 3 years, a 70 mid to late 70s, 75. I think I started working with him,
Hmm.
and when I first met him 3 years ago, he was struggling to stand up. Get up and down out of a chair. He was told he had to have surgery in his right shoulder. His left knee was not good, cartilage problems in the left knee, and he also had what's it called, herniated discs, two
Mm.
herniated discs in his lumbar.
Sounds
So
like my husband. He's had an operation on his shoulder from cycling,
oh
and he's
really,
got back problem as well with his.
right,
He's
well we'll have
quite
to get him
tall,
into
six foot seven, and he's always had impacted
oh
discs
because
or
of
something.
the yeah, so
Mm.
this so yeah, so we, I mean, he would do very well with Tai Chi or Qigong
Yeah.
practice. There's also some healing practice you can do. So with it, so 3 years ago, couldn't really get up and down out of the chair very well. He was also very unhappy because when your body is hurting, of course, it's not a pleasant place to be. and he's mad on golf, absolutely loves
Um,
golf. So he wasn't able to play his golf. Basically, he was getting really depressed and really down and physically not good and thinking, oh God, it's the end. I'm 75, 76. It's going to be a, well, not even such slow down, quite a quick downhill run to the grave. And 3 years later, so that I just saw him last week, I think it was yes, it was last week in London. He doesn't have to have surgery in his shoulder. He has no pain in his knee or his lower back. The herniated discs have gone back into place, and he now plays golf every single day of the week. And
and
his
how
son,
much of that is like mind over kind of matter as well, like
well, you can
knowing that you
say
can
it's all
get
mind
better.
over. You can say
Like
it's all mind over.
just positive kind of thought of I
Well,
can get better.
positive thought. It's difficult to move a herniated disc back into
Right.
place with positive thought. It's
Yeah.
difficult to dissolve bone spurs in your shoulder with just positive thinking, and it's difficult to heal cartilage that has worn away in knee joints just with positive thinking.
Right.
So,
Just
positive thinking is very important. Of
yeah.
course, it is. As I said before, I don't, and the traditions that I follow,
Hmm.
we don't really use visualization. So I have a healing practice that I also do called Qigong Tui Na.
Right.
And this is a form of very kind of it's a form of Chinese physiotherapy, really. And so what you're doing is so for example, sticking with this same person that
Hmm.
I'm not going to name because of
No.
sort of patient confidentiality.
Confidentially.
But for example, his shoulder, very, very bad. Now, of course, with a golf swing, if your shoulder's all messed up, you can't do anything. So what I was doing was with him is everybody that I work with, because everybody is different, I don't teach the same thing to the same person.
No.
It is different. It is bespoke because what was wrong with this client is different to say his wife, who I'm now working with, who has plantar fasciitis. She's seen how and terrible scoliosis in her spine. So basically, it's not positive thinking. It is looking at the way that the body is, what's not working in the body, why it isn't working, and then bringing it into balance. So if you think of the body as a series of systems all working together. Let's just talk about Western
Hmm.
medicine: blood circulation, nervous system, sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system, lymph system, all of these, the bones, the skeleton, all of that stuff working together, cerebrospinal fluid. Now, if one of those things starts going out of whack, then it has a knock-on effect throughout the rest of the body. What I'm trying to do is looking at the weakest parts. Now, if your shoulder, knee, lower back, those are obviously the weak parts in the body. Well, that's what it appears on the surface. They'll also be related to internal organs that have weakness. But those weak parts in the body,
What's the
what we
foot?
do, the
Sorry,
foot, well, I would
it's
have to have
related
a
to what?
look. Probably something, if it's plantar fasciitis, my guess would be something to do with the spleen, would be my
Right.
guess. Could be the liver. Could be the liver, but
I'm
probably the
just trying to think
spleen,
what's the spleen do
probably
again?
probably the spleen or the
I do what the
pancreas,
spleen.
something like that. Probably the spleen or
Right.
the pancreas.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, but basically, it's about taking the weak parts of the body and strengthening those. If you strengthen the weak and heal the weak parts of the body, and that's a whole question of how you do that. Well, there's lots of ways and lots of techniques. But yeah, it's not just positive thinking. It's very specific techniques for stimulating the joints to get the synovial sacs to release synovial fluid, so you cushion the joints. That's the first thing. If you've got cartilage that's almost worn down, like in a knee joint like that, so you basically haven't got any cartilage, and there's no cushion between it, which is what the synovial fluid does. Now,
Right.
if you start moving your body, or a joint, the synovial sacs release synovial fluid, and it creates a cushion in the joint like this. Otherwise, you've got bone on bone or cartilage on
Hmm.
cartilage. Now, if those synovial sacs get damaged, the cartilage gets worn down, there's a technique that you can use where you can basically stimulate, you pulse the joint like this. You pulse the joint, you where I physically manipulate it. So I'll manipulate like the wrist. If you see my wrist joint getting bigger
Hmm.
and smaller like this,
Hmm.
you stimulate the wrist joint. This causes the synovial sacs to go, oh, right, we've got movement here, but this is kind of like a nice gentle movement. Oh, this is okay. We release the synovial fluid, you get cushioning into the joint, and then that creates the buffer that you need between the cartilage or the joints. And you do this again and again and again, and it slowly begins lubricating, a bit like the Tin
It's
Man
like
in.
rewiring your body as opposed to rewiring your brain and just getting it
That's
used
right.
to that, saying it's safe
Rewiring
to
the
do
body.
this kind of
Yeah,
thing. It's safe to
exactly.
move.
It's safe to do this because a lot of things the body responds when we have a trauma, we
Yeah.
draw away, right? Oh, I'm hurt. I pull away. Now, the thing is, that's normal. It's a normal reaction. You burn your hand on the thing, ow, it comes back. But what about emotional trauma? If you're in a relationship
Yes.
or
So
you're in,
that's
and that
supposed to get stuck, isn't it, in different parts of the body? Or if it's undealt with emotion or trauma or hurt, then it can go to
precisely,
wherever in the
precisely,
body.
yeah. So the Taoists would say that the trauma is stored in your body. It's stored
Yeah.
in the body. Now, it doesn't have to be at directly the injury site. So if you hurt your hand or you hurt your knee for some reason, I'm talking about a physical trauma, it might not just be localized to that area. It will be also carried through. Now, if it's emotional trauma, if you have been, if you've had a lot of
It's going to
verbal
be
or
in the
physical,
childhood somewhere, isn't it?
got to be in the
And
childhood
then
somewhere.
you talk
That's
about it
in the system. Yeah.
and kind of change how you've dealt with that kind of at the time and change your kind of view on it.
Yeah.
And then it
Well, you
changes
can't.
everything, and then it should release a little bit.
That's right. That's right. And again, a big part of it is learning to feel to a very, very, very subtle level inside your body. So what
Mm.
I mean by that is you can do this sitting down or you can do it standing. But what you do is starting from, say, the crown of your head, you feel down, no visualizing, but feel the scalp, feel down the face, and you start feeling, putting the mind, which is usually kind of up here, we start putting the mind into the body, feeling the shoulder, feeling into the tissues, the bicep, the tricep, feeling into your
This is
hand,
like a yogic practice, isn't it?
like yoga nidra.
Yeah.
It's like yoga nidra, where you're lying down, you feel all the different areas. And what you'll notice is when you start feeling into your body, you'll notice areas that feel stuck or they feel blocked or they just don't feel quite right.
Mm.
Um, and there's a clue. Now, there's a clue. If something is now, when your system is good, when you feel health, if you look at a child, that is healthy and relatively untraumatized, you look how flexible their body is. Look how flexible and look how flexible their mind is. They are not. They don't have belief systems installed so much yet.
Right.
Their bodies are nice and flexible. They're very playful. They're joyful. And then as we live in our culture,
And
more and
conditioning, yeah.
stuff happens. Now the Chinese call this dust. It's like
Right.
this dust that accumulates like a static into your system,
Yeah.
and it like a rust then collects in different parts of your body, and that is connected,
Calcifies.
calcified, and it connects also to
Mm.
emotions. So, and it locks things in, and we're not aware of that a lot of the time because it's quite subtle. So when we start doing a meditation practice of feeling inside the body, we go, wow, that feels weird. What is that weird tightness that's down here? And then you pay attention to that and you feel into that area. It'll be tight to begin with. It won't want to let you in. What it's the same as,
Your
oh, it'll be,
subconscious kind of knows,
it does
doesn't
know.
it?
Correct. It
Sometimes
absolutely knows. So
you're more in touch with your subconscious as you're kind of going down the body,
exactly. That's
almost in a
exactly right.
trance.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's exactly right. It's a way of accessing the subconscious, which is
Mhm.
of course where the deep stuff,
95%.
as Freud would rightly would say,
Yeah.
that's where.
There's a subconscious and there's totally unconscious, isn't there, that you completely can't even go into unless you're kind of maybe
Well,
hypnotized.
yeah,
Do you
that's
think?
right. Yeah, it depends who you speak to about this. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yes, it is possible.
Do you think
Yeah,
it's possible?
I know it's possible. Yeah.
Subconscious, yeah.
Yeah. Although there is some debate. I mean, Freud actually he used the term unconscious for the subconscious, and Jung used the term subconscious. So, in terms of
Mhm.
psychology, they're actually Jung and Freud are well, actually no, I need to
Carl
be.
Jung was
They're not really. They
was
are discussing something
student of
similar,
Freud's,
except
wasn't
well, Jung goes for this collective unconscious or
Yeah.
collective subconscious, whereas with Freud, he didn't have so much this collective, where there are archetypes, where there are symbols, where we are connected essentially through some kind of immaterial, some sort of immaterial field. Freud didn't
Mm.
wasn't quite as esoteric as that, but this idea of trauma suppression of things being hidden, the classic Freudian example of the iceberg, where most of the iceberg is underwater and just the top. So we don't know all this stuff that's underneath. And the process of meditation, and actually the process of Tai Chi, takes you like going like an elevator in Inception. You go down, 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 right, down, down, down. Now, as you go down deeper and deeper into the substrate of the consciousness, that's where all your monsters and all your demons and all your fears and all of that lurk and
Mm.
reside. So,
And when you're asleep, that's the main bit, isn't it? That's when you're actually awake. You're
there,
actually
yeah,
asleep
yeah,
then,
there's that's right. Yeah,
supposedly.
there's different theories for that. That's right. Also, the Chinese would say that yes, when you're dreaming, but also that there's a part of you which goes off when you're asleep that
That's
travels
right.
to other
And
places.
there's
Yeah,
supposed to be a little cord connecting you.
that's right. Yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, dreaming. That was interesting. I did the psychology degree. Um,
Oh, cool.
and then I did neuroscience masters recently.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Um, yeah, so it was all about dreams. That all fascinates me. And
Mm,
afterlife and all this business.
yeah.
Business.
Do you know there's a famous in Taoism there's a famous figure called Zhuangzi. So Lao wrote the Lao, which really just means old master or old man. No one, I don't think anyone knows his name. Lao was the writer of what was called the Tao Te Ching, classic of power and virtue, something like this, or the way of virtue and power. And then there was another, and this was one of the big kind of Bibles of Taoism, really. And then there was another character called Shuangzu, very different sort of personality type, less traditional in a way. He was a bit more embodied what this so-called crazy wisdom. This is going to relate to the dream in a second. Anyway, one of Shuangzu's famous mm, metaphors, I suppose, is um, a man had a dream that he was a butterfly. A man had a Chinese man in the mountains, wherever he was, and he falls asleep after he's done his work, and he dreams that he's a butterfly, and the butterfly is flying around and going to the flowers, and he's like, "This is wonderful." And then the man wakes up and realizes it's a dream. And I might have got this a bit wrong, but he wakes up and he goes, "But am I a man having a dream that I'm a butterfly, or I'm a
Hmm.
butterfly dreaming that I am a man?"
Yeah.
I really, really like that. I really, really, yeah, it really speaks to me. This, but also this flexibility of thinking and perception. It's very,
Mhm.
very important in Taoism. This ability to be able to flow, like not just flow like in Tai Chi, but flow with the mind. For there to be when there's resistance, you go around or dissolve through the resistance. In martial arts, in Tai Chi and push hands, the winner is the one that can let go the most. The one that releases the most is the winner. The one that can flow with the other person, not the one that meets force with force. And this is the same with perception as well. So it lends a little bit to what Shuangzi was saying about whether you're a butterfly dreaming you're a man, or a man dreaming you're a butterfly.
Hmm.
It's encouraging a fluidity of perception, so we don't get fixed.
And possibility, yeah.
And possibility and change. I mean, there's all the metaphors with the butterfly. That's
Yeah.
why in context with psychology, what we're talking also what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So looking out for yellow butterflies, and then you see loads of yellow butterflies. It's the red
Yes,
car theory,
that's
isn't it?
right. Exactly.
So wow. So you were you living in London and then you left and just went to Ibiza and that was it. You just
Yes. Yeah. So I have lived in London on and off so I grew up in Kent in the
hmm
southeast of England. Well, I should say my mother's Irish. My father he's no longer with us. My father was English. My mother was Irish. And so we would go to Ireland a lot. So I spent a lot of my time between the west coast of Ireland and in the holidays, and then in Kent,
Yeah.
in southeast England, near Canterbury, Whitstable.
All right, nice.
That's where I grew up really. And then yeah, in the early 2000s, I moved to London, and I traveled quite a bit in my
Hmm.
20s, but I lived predominantly in London, I suppose, on and off for 20 years
Hmm.
in various other places, but pretty much that was my base, yes. And then I got to about 2015, actually, 2016. Sorry, so I started coming to Ibiza not for the partying, but because one of my teachers was doing Tai Chi and Qigong retreats here,
Right.
3 week, 4 week long, very
Gosh.
deep trainings.
Wow.
So I started coming 2013, so quite late really, to Ibiza, and I completely fell in love with the place. I was like,
Mm.
what, this is amazing, this is what a beautiful
It's, isn't it?
island. It's just stunning. And I was like a love affair. I was like bowled over. I thought, wow. And about 2015, 2016, a friend of mine, he's a musician, producer, DJ, but he also does
Hmm.
qigong and tai chi. We were talking and we were saying, why don't we try and move to why don't we try and move to Ibiza? Why not? Let's be bold and do this. And so we did. So but it took till 2018. So 2018, I think he moved before me. Then I was tied up with something in England, and then I moved in 2018. And I have to say, it did not work out that time for me. I tried to make it
Right.
work, but I had too many ties with England, too many ties with the film and television industry that I was working in at the time,
Hmm.
um, ties with an ex-girlfriend at the time. So it just wasn't good timing for me.
Hmm.
So I only stayed about 8 months that time, and then I went back to England 2018. Then 1920, we had all the lockdowns and
Well,
Brexit,
hoo-ha.
all that sort of stuff, and then 2021, I then tried to move again to Ibiza, and it really just opened up. Everything was like yes, yes, yes. Like the
Mm.
universe just went, yep, this is the place for you to be. And so I made the move in 2021, and I haven't looked back. Every time I come back to England, it just seems a bit more depressing.
Yes, it's quite grey.
Yeah,
And
weather,
dirty.
politics, economics. It's
Oh,
I like it here. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Do you come
So,
over especially to see your clients?
but I do. Well, I have, yes, I do, and I have very good. Without sounding arrogant, I have very good results with my
Hmm.
clients. Really. Yeah. So I've been teaching since my 20s, really officially. I'm in my 40s now. So I've been teaching
Hmm.
for about 20 years. And I've worked with lots and lots of people, from uh, children with leukemia to end of life elderly patients, to quite well known actors with spinal problems, to I've worked with a lot of different people, to this recent client who was having serious problems, was told to have surgery on his shoulder and was in a mess. So I have good results with what I do. I can't take credit for that. It is not
Hmm.
me doing it. It is the techniques that
It's
I
a
have
bit like
done.
physiotherapy, kind of in a
It
way.
is.
It's just a movement. And how long
It
does it
is.
take? I mean, for some of these things.
Well, the thing is, I have a combination. So the approach that I have now is that I use a combination of um, Tui Na, or Qigong Tui Na, which is
Hmm.
this sort of form of exactly that, physiotherapy, which is a very light kind of massage. It can feel so subtle, it almost feels like there's nothing really happening, but
Hmm.
there is. So the patient will either be lying down on their back, or they can sometimes be sitting on a chair with scoliosis. If I'm working on the spine, then they're sitting in a chair so that I can help get the spine aligned. So a combination of that and some qigong practice seems to be the best effect. So, and also some kind of some what is called jibengong, or kind of fundamental training or conditioning. So some very gentle warm ups to open the spine or open the neck. This with some qigong practice, and depending on what is wrong with them, it will be tailored to. There will be a specific qigong so for
Hmm.
example, this same man that I keep talking about, who is mad on golf. I actually,
Yeah.
one of the reasons I picked this particular qigong to work with him is
Hmm.
because it's quite similar to a golf swing. The way
Right.
that you the way that you shift the weight is very similar to a golf swing, and I knew that if he's mad about golf, he's much more likely to practice something which
Yeah.
is like something that he does. And of course, he's now turned around. He says, "My golf swing has just got so good now; it's unbelievable." And everyone wants to know what my secret is, but he's
Yeah.
reluctant to say because he's competitive. But I'm working with his wife now, who has very bad plantar fasciitis and
Yes. So how long
terrible.
will that take to get rid of that, do you think? Because I've had, well, mine was here 3 years ago, and it came back
Okay,
again. I started playing
well,
tennis again, and it's kind of come back.
yeah, well, it can go in one session.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so it can go in one session, but it depends. It's really case by case. So for example, with this lady that I'm working with, I've done 2 sessions with her, separated by a period of 6 weeks. The first session, she the pain because she was struggling to walk a bit, particularly in the
Yes,
morning.
I mean, I do limp when I've been using it too much.
Yeah. So she found that after that session that we did together, that she had the pain was much less and her mobility was really, really good for about 2 to 3 weeks afterwards. Okay. Like
Wow.
this. So she felt, now I would be lying if I said she felt, completely fine and normal. I'm not, yeah, I'm not maybe at that level with just being able to do it in one treatment, but
Mhm.
it also depends, I said, on the patient. I just did a second session with her last week, and after that session she said, wow, this is extraordinary, I really don't have any pain, like, at all. And also with the scoliosis in her spine, it's all connected. So
Right,
uh,
yeah.
and I often get texts from her husband. So I haven't had any texts saying, oh, she's in a lot of pain or anything. So I think, I know, in fact, that that will last for another few weeks. But it depends. This is why I combine it with qigong exercise to do, because
Okay, yeah, yeah.
there's that there's that expression, you can give someone some fish, or you can
Mhm.
teach them how to fish, so
Yes.
that they're not reliant on. So with me now, there's a lot of teachers out there that their students get, or the patients get reliant on them. Well, in my opinion, that's not a
It's
very
an
good job.
income, and they think, right, well, that's the client. Yeah.
But if you're a good
That's
healer,
what Big Pharma does, isn't it?
Big Pharma does that. Exactly. They get you hooked and then they need. So if you're a good healer, in my opinion, your patients shouldn't be seeing you for more than 2 or 3 years maximum, depending on what it is. It's like, okay, the healing is done. Now, it's different because we're also on a qigong journey with those guys. It's not just about healing their ailments. That's what he wanted to begin with, but now he's like, oh, I want to carry on. This is a journey.
Mm.
So coming back to your original question, with her plantar fasciitis, I think we will get that sorted out within. I think it will take a realistically 6 sessions. I think 6 sessions of approximately 1 to 2 hours each session, and I think the plantar fasciitis will. Yeah, that'll be sorted out. The main issue is the scoliosis, actually.
You think
Well,
that's
actually,
usually related to the spine, the plantar fasciitis? Because I was told one time that my spine was slightly curved by an osteopath when I had a sore back and I actually couldn't move.
mm,
I was lifted my
yeah.
3-year-old daughter up, and my back went, and then I was in bed for 3 days. I literally couldn't move
No, that's yeah.
without squealing.
When
Yeah.
did that happen?
Well, she's 15 now, nearly
Oh, okay.
16,
So
so
when did the plantar fasciitis start?
about 3 years ago.
About 3 years
And
ago.
then it
Okay.
went away and then came back again.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I can't just, every case is unique. Okay. But what I would say is, generally, when you have plantar fasciitis, which is would fall under something to do with the sinews in Chinese medicine, which is really just an old term for the musculoskeletal system.
Oh, right.
But really, what it is so what in Chinese medicine, what one of the things that supports or upholds the body. Now, when you have plantar fasciitis, often the tissues are collapsing in the feet,
Yes.
and it feels like you're walking on the bone, like of the foot, and then you
It's
also
in
get
the
pain in
heel.
the calf and
Yeah.
in the heel and all of that sort of stuff. So this is a in now, I don't say this is always the case, but in many cases it's the earth element, which is the spleen, the pancreas, not, I could say the stomach, but let's say the spleen and the pancreas, If you think about the earth that we stand on, the planet that we stand on, so there is gravity that is coalescing all of the pulling all the particles together. So we have this solid mass of a planet, and that's sticking us to the planet, the gravity. But there is also something which is coming off the Earth as well. There's an energy field. Now, in a just pure science sense, we've got a magnetic field coming off it. You've got Van Allen radiation belts being generated from the planet. So there are fields that are coming off, energetic fields that are also emanating off the planet. There isn't just gravity sucking in, it's also giving this out. Now, this earth element is the body. One of the ways is expressed is support, upholding, uprightness, this sense of something being held up. Okay, so with collapsed arches, for example, in the feet like this, we would say, in a very crude general sense, I'm not saying this is the case in all situations, but that the earth element, this rising kind of supporting thing, is not really there. It's collapsing. It's not really being held. And there are lots of reasons why. There can be physical, medical reasons, like you could have something wrong with your spleen. It can be emotional things. It can be that you felt uh, smothered, very smothered emotionally somehow, so that the spleen, so the earth feels like it's crushed down under the
Yes,
weight.
it was a time when my son was being particularly like really nasty. And then I was speaking to somebody, they thought it might be guilt because I was worried about the childminder and might have abused him when he was
Oh
little.
God, that's
And that's why
terrible.
he
Yeah,
was angry. Anyway, so I
could
don't
be
know that I'm
related to
sure, but I
that. It
have a
could,
guilt for that. So she thought that my all the guilt had got into my foot and I was because of the
yeah.
guilt. When she said that, then I felt a fuzz through my body and I was like, oh my God, I think that's what it is. That
Mm.
emotion has gone into my foot.
Yes, that is one way of looking at it. Yeah, that is one way of looking at it. And you're thinking about it very much in the right Chinese Taoist way, which
Right.
is because guilt seems like a sort of an abstract thing that we, oh, I feel guilty, and it's something that we feel in our personality and not something in our feet. We don't think, oh,
You
I've
feel
got guilty
heartbroken
collapsed
and
arches,
it's
or I've
got
got
nowhere to
guilty.
go. It's like, what
Yeah,
do you do with this emotion? It's undealt with emotion
that's right,
and go
exactly.
into the body. Yeah.
So there can be physical reasons for it, there can be emotional reasons for it, there can be spiritual reasons for it as well. So there can be many reasons. There's with the Chinese, there's different layers. There's the kind of most gross material level, which is, you could say, the body. You've got something wrong with your spleen, you've it's been damaged. You've or you love lots, I don't mean you, but people love lots of sugary drinks. It's affecting the insulin. So that's more in the pancreas, but the pancreas and the spleen are often paired in Chinese medicine. So it could be a physical thing. Well, then that is a question of adjusting the diet, doing qigong exercises to strengthen the spleen. Now, if it's an emotional thing, well, then it changes how you approach that, how you work with it. So there would be a meditation component with it. There would be a slight change with what you're doing with your qigong there, a quality of the mind that would be very different. Talking therapies would be very helpful to get this to express. If an emotion isn't expressed correctly, the Taoists also say, if the energy isn't allowed to complete itself, if you can't complete, it all has a natural cycle. Grief has a natural cycle. If you've lost your mother or your father or a loved one or whatever it is, it's terribly
Yeah, I have
sad.
grief as well for my father. I kind of estranged from my father. Yeah, there's lots of stuff going on
Lots of stuff.
that
And
could
that
have,
is, if it's not um resolved, if it
yeah.
hasn't gone through its cycle and resolved, so basically you feel at peace with it,
Yeah.
this causes problems over time.
Mm.
It builds up. Now, of course, when we're young, we don't notice it. These things tend to come out more as we hit middle age. So as we start
Yeah.
getting older, the energy of the body, we don't have youth and that sort of carefree sort of whatever, you can just, oh, water off a duck's back and on to the next thing.
Hmm.
Because it's gone into the body, the trauma has gone in, this dust, rust has built up. When we get into middle age, we generally can't hold on to it anymore, and that's when the first health crises start happening. And oh, well, I was fine. Why I can't seem to deal with this, or I feel overwhelmed with this now. Of course, there's the natural cycles of your life, but it's often things that are held in there because it takes energy to hold something in. If you clench your hand into a
Yeah.
fist, that requires energy to do that. And this clenching of your fist on a micro level is happening in your body all the time. I'm holding that thing down. I wasn't allowed to say that thing. I haven't been able to say that thing. So I tense my lungs down. I have to hold that down. Or I wasn't allowed to cry and express myself. So I'm going to have to close my lungs down because I can't say what I want to say. Now, you do that once or twice, it's okay. You do that months and years and months and years, and this contraction in the system makes you ill eventually.
Yeah, and that suppression often kind of relates back to childhood as well, doesn't it? So
Yes,
you go
it
in there and then change that, then it can release.
absolutely right. Absolutely right. And again, in Chinese medicine, they have specific acupuncture meridians for working with the
Oh,
first 7 to 8 years of life. Yeah.
right.
So yeah,
Where are
it's
those
very, very,
meridians?
huh?
Whereabouts are those meridians then? Are they just
Oh, there's lots of them. So there are 60, oh, 66 meridians, is it? I mean, there are thousands of energy lines in the body, but the main primary ones, I think there's 66 or 68 or something like that. I'm sure someone will correct me online. Um, but you have some primary meridians. Okay, so to give a very very brief overview of kind
Mhm.
of what happens in conception from a Chinese point of view, the sperm and the egg as they come together like this before actually, or just you could say as the sperm is hitting the egg, there is a like a Tesla, like a like an electrical arc that
Mhm.
creates a channel between that sperm and that egg. So there's a first channel, the first acupuncture channel, which in Chinese
Right.
medicine is called Chong Mai. So
Okay.
this, and then that completes the physical thing. And in Chong Mai, this also determines the kind of mixing of how yin and yang is going to be expressed. It will also determine a bit the gender of the sex. Sorry, I should say of the child, also the gender. But you have Chong Mai. That's the first channel,
Mhm.
and um, and then other channels kind of grow out of that one. You could say
Wow.
there's different theories, but it relates also to in the Tao Te Ching, one of the Bibles of Taoism. One of the opening lines is, apart from the way that can be spoken of is not the true way, or whatever they say, one divides into two, two divides into three, and then from three, the 10,000 things. 10,000 just means a lot. But
Mhm.
this mirrors what happens at conception. You get the first channel, Chong Mai,
Mhm.
and then you get these other two channels which express yin and yang. And then all out of those three, the web of the other channels are sort of formed. But they also, some of them don't develop until after you've given birth. So when you're in the womb, you're in the amniotic sac, you're obviously not breathing air and you're being
Yeah.
nourished by your mother.
Yeah.
When the baby is given birth to, the first air that they take, this also affects the channels. So the channels,
Right.
they switch from using the amniotic fluid and the
Mhm.
nourishing from the mother, they switch into what's called a postnatal state. So to prepare you for now being in the world. So
Mhm.
the energy channels relating to your stomach and your digestion, they form or whether they change, and the ones relating to your lungs, because the water's had to come out, they change. So you have the channels that are pre-birth or in utero, and then
Mhm.
post-birth, which happens. And these
Right.
channels that are in utero are generally known as the extraordinary meridians, different from the primary meridians. Yeah.
Right.
And there are ways of working with those, and those are very very deep channels, and actually they were left out of a lot of Chinese medicine when it got modernized in the 20th century, because they were seen as too mysterious and too, like, you can play with someone's blueprint, so they contain your destiny also, why you're here. The Taoists say that their model of humankind is that we are born for a reason, even if
And
that is just
it's
to
all
live.
mapped out, isn't it?
They say that we're born for a reason. That reason is called your Ming, or your destiny. Destiny, but not in a
Mhm.
fatalistic sense, but in a sense that you have certain things to carry out. Okay. Now, sad as this might sound, that might be just living for a couple of hours as a baby and then dying. Now, I know that sounds, hard to accept, but if we look at that through human eyes and human understanding, you can't make sense of it. Why is that baby being born? Or why is there some terrible suffering that, a baby, something happens just Doesn't make sense. Well, we're looking at it through human limited eyes. If you can
That's
look
the
through
agenda. That's their agenda that they wanted.
exactly,
Yeah.
that would be really how the Taoists would look at it. So yeah, so you come in with this thing. This is your Ming, and basically your
Me.
body mind energy system
Yeah.
arranges so that you can carry out your mission. It's like I've got my mission, I've got my thing of what I'm going to do. My body, my mind, my energy, everything, my organs, they're all going to arrange so I can carry out my mission. Now, when you are not carrying out your mission, you get ill. That's basically what happens
Right.
when you meet resistance. Now, resistance, of course, is part of the path because with resistance, we learn certain things. But in a very, very simplistic level, when we get ill and we get put on our, you get put on your ass and you're lying in bed, it's designed to make it's like an imposed contemplation. Hang on a second. What am I really doing what I should be doing here? Am I happy with this thing? Like it's designed to make you reassess things so that
Hmm.
you can then get back on
And find your purpose.
like on purpose. Yeah.
Find your purpose. Yeah.
So the Ming,
Wow.
and the Jing is the vessel that
Oh yeah.
carries the Ming. So Jing, the Jing and the Ming, the Ming, and they say the Ming is stored actually in the kidneys. So
Oh.
your blueprint, also related to the sexual organs. So it's like
Hmm.
your blueprint, mm, the path you're going to walk. Taoism, the Tao is path or way.
Hmm.
So the Ming is also to get the Ming is a path, is a way. So it's all about getting into the first understanding that you're here for a reason. What is
Hmm.
that? What is that path? And then carrying through to your destiny. Yeah, that is the
Mm.
thing. When you don't do that, that's when you get problems, essentially.
Yeah.
In a very, very crude, simplistic way. I know we have
Yes.
loads of people go, that's not right. And he's simplifying Chinese medicine horribly. That's my understanding.
Yeah. And there are meant to be different versions of you kind of living.
Oh, what do you mean in this kind of quantum sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
do a
yeah.
quantum leap to
Well, that's right. Yeah.
different
I mean,
versions of yourself, which is difficult to understand, isn't it?
yeah. I mean,
Is
yes,
that part
yes,
of
it can. It can be. Yeah, it can
it?
be. It can be difficult to understand. But I think that's one of the gifts of quantum mechanics. Really, once you start
Right.
understanding that, and the idea of there being multiple possibilities,
Yeah.
it's actually quite a liberating thing. Because I think this idea of destiny, it can, as it feel fatalistic, feel like, oh my God, destiny. It's like Oedipus. I'm destined to sleep with my mother and kill my father. It's like that's my
Hmm.
destiny. Oh, it's a bad thing. I think that's part of the kind of Greek kind of cultural thing that this whole it's. I mean, Freud made again coming back to Freud and psychology. Boys being in love with their mothers. So there's this sense of destiny being a negative thing. The
Hmm.
Chinese don't have it like that. Your destiny is um, it's something to cherish. It's a path to that will uncover, and if you're in a line with it, you will be assisted by,
The universe.
let's just say, the universe. Let's say other deities, or what you could say is other versions of yourself in parallel realities.
Yeah.
That would be another way of looking at it.
Mm.
Hmm.
And time doesn't exist and it's all kind of stacked.
Time does not exist. Time does not exist in the mind. Let's say
Yeah.
that, when you have a memory of childhood, the
Mm.
emotions, the feelings, sometimes it can even bring on, then you're straight away there. When we're
Mm.
triggered, as you know, use psychology, what is a
Hmm.
trigger? The trigger is active because something that occurred, that's not occurring now. Point to where that's occurring. Point to where your father hit you or your mother told you weren't good enough. Where is that happening now? There is
Hmm.
only a present moment. So, what is that? So it's something that is connected inside of us, and we
Hmm.
are we haven't resolved or completed whatever that thing is. So we have to time travel essentially inside ourselves, make friends, say it's okay, heal the wounded child, whatever the
Yeah.
analogy you want, and then we can come back into the present and not be triggered, because
Yeah.
there really only is the present moment. There is one continual present
The only
moment.
ever, yeah, only ever is.
Fourth time, sometimes it's called. Uh,
Fourth time.
The Sanskrit is turiya, which means
Right.
real time or fourth time. It's a
Right.
meditation thing. It happens in meditation, so you can lose sense of time.
Hmm.
It's happened to me a few times. I sit down to meditate. I think it's been Okay, let's not exaggerate. I think it's been 30 or 40 minutes meditating, and it's been 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, no, really, it's very trippy feeling actually. So you sit down, you go, okay, I'm gonna do, oh yeah, and then I'm gonna do lunch after that. No, I won't set the alarm. It'll only be 30, 40 minutes, fine. I'm gonna do, yeah, 30 minutes go by and you go, oh, that was, yeah, you go, oh, that was nice. Yeah. Right, I better go and make the, what? It's like, how is that possible? Well, again, it's to do with the mind and our perception of time
And it can
and
go fast or slow, can't
being,
it? Depending on what you're
yeah,
doing, if you're in flow
but the present moment is the truly, if you're in the present moment, there is the sense of chronological time goes.
or. Mhm.
There's one giant hyper moment. Yeah.
So when you do a meditation in the mornings for 15 minutes, I mean, what are you doing? A visualization or
No, I don't visualize.
are you cross-legged? Oh,
So
you said you did.
yeah, I've studied a few different meditation techniques, traditions. So um okay, I mean, yes, I do sit cross-legged on the floor.
Okay.
Meditation, you do not have to sit cross-legged to do meditation. I should say this is not true. What is good is if you can get your spine or your back straight. That's important when you do meditation. Um, and one of the, just on a practical level, that's just neurologically, if your spine is all kinked up like that, the signals going from your brain to your body, it's you need
Yeah.
to, you want to feel comfortable and that there isn't any kind of distortion or weird kind of signals going through the body. So the important thing is the spine is straight. Now, whether that's sat cross-legged on the floor or sat on or sat on a chair, that's the primary thing. Of course, there are energetic reasons to do with the spine being straight, and even more deeper
And the
esoteric.
breathing as well. Do you do the breathing like deep breathing in for 4, hold for
Yeah.
4, out for 4?
So I don't do that one
Okay.
myself. No. So the breathe. So I mean, do you want me to do a little meditation?
Okay.
We
Yeah.
could do a little guided meditation. Okay, we'll
I
do
mean, when
it.
I do the meditation on my, you know, meditation bit of my course, it's the bubble. It's that, the bubble.
The bubble that you put around you, mean?
But yeah, and it's like a kind of big bubble around you.
Okay. Yeah, I
That's the
know
only
this.
one I know, actually.
I'm
And there's
familiar with
one
this
walking
one.
down a beach. That's it.
Yeah, so these are visualization exercises, which is okay. I mean, at the end of
Yeah.
the day, as I said, if something, the Taoists are very practical people,
Mm.
and I like to consider myself quite practical. Well, certainly practical when it comes to teaching this material. If someone has something wrong with them, their back, knee, whatever it is, let's fix that bloody thing. Let's get it done. If someone has severe and also if someone has emotional trauma and they say, "Oh, can we do this with meditation or qigong?" I would probably say to them, I actually think Western talking therapies is a better route to go, or at least get that ironed out before we then go into more, whatever it might be. So basically, so I don't use visualization with my meditation. I've studied 3 meditation techniques or systems at quite some depth. Buddhist meditation technique called Vipassana, which are famously taught on 10-day silent retreats. I've done
Yes,
several
and
of these.
fasting as well.
Yeah, there is a fasting with that where you don't eat after 11 o'clock in the day.
Right.
Um, so I've studied that at some depth. Taoist meditation, Taoist dissolving, my teacher calls it. And the other one I practice is a Tibetan Buddhist meditation called Dzogchen. So these are that one is done with the eyes open. So most meditation is done with the eyes closed. This one is done with the eyes open. And I have used them at different times for different reasons. They're good, like a Swiss Army knife. Certain tool is good for a certain thing, certain tool is good for a certain thing. So whatever it might be. So if we do, I will just do literally a couple of minutes. We'll just do a couple
Okay.
of minutes, little
Yeah.
guided meditation. And
All
this
right.
is Taoist meditation because we're talking
Yep.
about Tai Chi and Qigong today. So, what I want you to do is the important thing is get your spine straight. That's the important thing. If you're sitting in a chair, I recommend bringing your backside forward so you're sitting on the edge of the chair a little bit
All
like
right.
that. You can, if you've got scoliosis or something, you need support, you can sit back into the chair if you need it. But I recommend sitting on the edge of the chair,
Mhm.
and your feet want to be underneath your knees. So your legs are bent, feet underneath the knees like that. Rest your hands on your knees or in your lap like that. So spine straight, feet on the knees directly above the feet. And that's your basic sort of physical alignments. If you draw your chin under very slightly like this, we want to draw our chin under very slightly. That's going to help the blood and the energy drain from the head back down into the body. If we're too much like this, it's going to close down the occiput, the back of the head, and also some various things here. And it will stop the blood and the energy going back into the body. And then you can start trancing out and feeling weird when you're doing meditation. So these are practical things. First thing you want to do, we're going to use the breath. Okay, now, yes, you can count with the breath. These are all kinds of techniques. I want to talk about something very Tai Chi with the breath. And what that is the inhale and the exhale changeover. So, first thing I want you to do is close your eyes. We're just going to do this for 2 minutes. Close your eyes for 2 minutes. Breathing through the nose. First thing is just observe your breath without trying to change it. Just observe it, just what's happening today. And you'll notice that your thoughts are probably going and racing a little bit with it, but just observe your breath. Feel the air coming in across your top lip, going into your nostrils. Feel the air coming out across your top lip and your nostrils. Observe your breath. Place your awareness on your breathing. Now, notice as we do this, already by placing our awareness on our breathing, notice how the breathing very slightly begins to change. It's like it starts to deepen the breath just by observing it. It's quite amazing. Before doing anything, if you just observe it, the breath will naturally begin deepening and lengthening. Now, obviously, we have an inhale, we have an exhale, and very, very importantly, we have the changeover from the inhale to the exhale and the exhale to the inhale. What I want you to do is to focus your awareness on this changeover point. So as you inhale, don't worry about that so much. But as your diaphragm and your chest fill with air, as it wants to go to the exhale, pay attention to this gap, this changeover between the inhale and the exhale. Notice how smooth it is. Is it smooth or is it a bit juddery or a bit twitchy? This changeover, the inhale, breathing in, and then the exhale, that exact changeover. Pay attention to that changeover. And what I want you to do is to, as opposed to extending or counting the inhale and the exhale, extend the time that this changeover occurs between the inhale and the exhale and the exhale and the inhale. So you're going to breathe in. Once you've reached full capacity and you want to exhale, lengthen the changeover from that inhale to that exhale, or vice versa, from the exhale to the inhale, without forcing it too much. You just watch it and then extend that time, the inhale to the exhale and the exhale to the inhale. So just do that for 10, 15 seconds. Now what I want you to do is to blend the inhale into the exhale and the exhale into the inhale. So there's no stopping and starting, like the Tai Chi symbol. The yin grows out of the yang and the yang grows out of the yin. Think about the waves on a calm beach. The wave comes in, it doesn't stop and then go back. It retracts and then the next one comes. No stopping and starting. Blend the inhale into the exhale and the exhale into the inhale, and pay attention to this changeover. And then once you've got this, I want you to place your awareness in the soles of your feet. Feel the soles of your feet. If you're wearing socks, feel your socks. If you're wearing shoes, feel your shoes. If you've got bare feet or whatever, feel the ground. No visualization. Feel the weight of your legs on your feet, on the soles of your feet. Feel your feet. And then come back to the breathing. Watch this inhale and exhale change over. Now see if there's a part of you which can feel the changeover between the inhale and the exhale, and also a part of you that can keep a bit of awareness in the soles of your feet. See if a bit like doing two things at the same time. See if you can feel the soles of your feet and watch this changeover between the inhale and the exhale. And the last thing is to relax your face, relax your eyes, let any tension go from your face, your eyes, your jaw. Just like the tide, the sea. Inhale, blends into the next. No stopping, no starting. Very different from pranayama, where you breathe, you hold, and then you breathe out. No stopping and starting. Bit of awareness in the feet. Release your face, release your eyes, release your jaw, release your throat. Let go of any tension. Let it drop down your body into your feet. But just this smoothing out, this changeover, particularly after if you've had an emotional situation, don't do this at the time. Allow the emotion to express itself properly and the breathing to do what it wants to do. But later that night, if you're struggling to sleep, pay attention to this changeover between the inhale and the exhale. This is a Tai Chi, yin yang changeover. Just a little tip, and we could do this for a long time.
I think it's really good.
How did you find that?
Off to sleep.
Yeah,
Really
good.
good.
That's what you want. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
good. It's
nice.
very good for helping to get to sleep. That
Yeah.
problem sleeping, I
I don't
found.
have any problem sleeping, but
Yeah, I found.
it's nice. I have way too much coffee. Like in the mornings, I'm just like,
Yeah, it's a hard one. I
do
like a coffee in the morning, and I really limit myself to just that one. Um,
you?
yeah, I've only started drinking it the last few years because my
Yeah.
girlfriend's a coffee drinker, and I never drunk it before, and it was always used to make me feel a bit jittery. But
Yeah.
you get used to it, and now I like one in the morning. But if I
And then
have
you
more,
need it after a bit, don't you?
yeah, if I'm honest, yeah, yes, I need it. Yeah, I do. I know I like the coffee in the morning. In the morning is okay. One in the morning, okay.
Yeah.
Again, Chinese medicine people, oh, coffee, inflammatory,
Yeah,
whatever.
chocolate's really good for you, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it
Mm.
is. I don't think they had
Cacao.
chocolate in ancient China, but that's right, they did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, is there anything else you want to
Well,
talk
that's
about?
amazing. That was really interesting.
Yeah,
And
good. Yeah,
yeah,
good.
so
Or
yeah.
any questions about that little
Well, give me
meditation
the
we did?
information about the retreat and everything, and I'll put that up.
Thank you. Yes, yes, that will
And
be in April, probably April, in Ibiza, in North Ibiza.
what
Dates
dates?
to be dates to be confirmed. Dates to
I'm
be
quite interested.
yeah. And we've got a good space for it. I don't want to say because I'm
How
superstitious.
many do you do? How
It's
many
not a
people?
I the space can hold probably 40 to 50 people, I would have
Right.
thought. We'll see. I need to it's something this weekend I need to get I need to put my
Yeah.
focus onto that because yeah I'm getting since the television world has been going no 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 more and more, and it's okay fine, the Tai Chi world and teaching, and
Well,
I
you should
actually,
say about your parents and the
oh yes, of
Dalmatian
course,
dog because that's really amazing.
yeah, of
Your
course. So
sister.
So what did you want to ask me?
Well, tell me about your famous parents. I read on when I did a Google when I Googled you,
Yeah,
and you've
well, I
got a
mean, my
famous
dad.
sister, and
Don't know
you're
about yeah. So my sister is a pretty well known actress and
yeah.
producer. Also practices Tai Chi and Qigong.
Where does she?
Yeah, she does. Yeah, and yeah. So yeah, she's an actress and she's a producer. She's done lots of film, television, theatre work, various
Siobhan,
awards.
which is an Irish name,
Exactly.
isn't
Mum
it?
was in that
So
one.
yours, so
Patrick and
yours.
Siobhan.
Yes, exactly.
Dad didn't have a say in it. Yeah, that's right. And then my father was quite a well-known actor in the going back to the 1950s or 60s, I want to say. I think he was the first BBC children's television presenter with a Dalmatian dog. I can't remember the name of the
Oh
dog.
God, it
Yeah.
wasn't Blue Peter.
It was something like that, but it wasn't Blue Peter. It was before that. It was before that. And then he really became well known in the 70s. He was in a show that ran throughout the whole of the 70s called It
Mm,
Ain't Half Hot Mum. It Ain't Half
yeah,
Hot
I
Mum was
remember
written
that.
by the same
I have
the
to.
same writers and directors as Dad's Army. And
Yes.
also upstairs downstairs what did they do upstairs downstairs Heidi High and stuff like that. So basically
Oh
dad
yeah,
was
I used to
a
love
long
all that.
running show in the 70s that was very funny and actually
What was
dad
his name?
died. Donald Hewlett, yeah,
Donald.
Donald Hewlett. You can look him up, and
Yes.
there's even some photos of me as a little whatever
Oh
little baby being cradled by my
yeah.
mum and my dad. So my mother was also a well-known actress in the 1970s, and they met on a job. My dad was actually married at the time.
Oh,
He got divorced and got together with my mum, and they met on a television job in the Channel Islands. Yeah. So so dad, yeah, he was and he had me quite late in life. He had me when he was nearly 60 years old.
oh
So
really?
so yeah, I always kind of had an older father, but he looked after himself. He was in, pretty good. He wasn't a big drinker or smoker or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. So he looked after himself. And towards the end, when, age kind of, I was teaching him, of course, the Qigong and the Tai Chi.
Mm-hmm.
I was holding his hand as he died and doing
Oh,
some Tibetan meditation practice with him. So I have a very, good
positive.
relationship. Yeah, it was lovely actually. And then mum's another example. Mum, that same year that dad died, I don't want to end on a bad note here. Dad died 2011. I broke up
Right.
with a partner of 5 years within a month of that, and then my mum was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. This all happened within about 3 months, and mum, we did a full qigong program with mum. She had and the doctors, so she had conventional chemotherapy as well as the qigong, and the doctors were always surprised when she'd have her chemotherapy. They'd say, "How come your white blood cell count is so high after the chemotherapy? It should be
Oh
much lower.
really?
What are you doing?" And she
Oh,
said, "Well,
oh my
my
God.
son's got me doing
Yeah.
these funny Chinese exercises."
Yeah.
She showed them and she showed them some and they said, well, that's really interesting. What you're doing is load bearing exercises using the weight of the body onto the legs, and through our eyes
Mm-hmm.
this load bearing is stimulating the bones and the bone marrow to produce blood, which is very
Wow.
interesting. And my mum now, she's had the all clear from cancer for the last 3 years. So she's stage 4 2011. It's 2026 now.
Wow.
She's in her late 70s, and she
Fantastic.
said she's never felt better. So she's in good health and good condition. She also has some plantar fasciitis, and she had to
Yeah.
have her spleen removed. That's a whole thing. So yeah. Anyway, I don't want to end
Okay.
up
All
on a bad thing,
right.
but we've all got our crosses to bear. And but
Yeah.
dad, yeah, dad was a well-known actor, and we used to get in the black cabs in London, and very often they wouldn't charge him. They'd say, "You made me laugh so much in the
Oh,
70s that we won't charge you, sir," is what they would say. And
brilliant.
yeah, I had a good relationship with my father. Mm.
Mm. Well, that was fantastic.
That's quite
Really,
all right.
really informative.
Yeah, good.
Brilliant
Yeah.
to meet you.
No, no, no. Absolute pleasure. I must be honest. I think this is the first one I've done. Actually, I don't think I've ever
Right.
spoken. I haven't spoken
It's
about
very
no.
in vogue now, isn't it? All of this.
It certainly is. Yeah.
So,
It really is. Yeah. So thank you for inviting
yeah.
me. Yeah, it's also
Thanks
been
for
a lot of fun
coming.
to talk about this, and And my apologies in advance to anybody that's watching this and going, "Oh, that's wrong. This Chinese medicine thing." On there's so much conflicting opinions about things, but we know
Yeah,
what to say about opinions. But the important thing is that whatever you're doing is making your body and your mind feel more open and more spacious, and ideally a
right.
bit more grounded. If those things are
Yeah.
happening, whatever it is that you're doing, keep doing it.
And walk bare feet, both
Not
barefooted.
if it's really cold. Bare feet
But
is
the
good.
grounding thing,
It is, but you can also, frankly, you can do that. You can do it. Not, I mean, it does in very, very thick shoes. It can
mm,
get a bit tricky, but really, no, it's not so. I do wear very thin shoes. These Vivo
right.
barefoots I wear when I
But it's the
practice.
natural ones rather than,
Yeah, that's
exercise.
right. Barefoot is good, but not if it's freezing cold, because the
Yeah,
freezing cold, again, it can cause the feet to contract. Now,
yeah.
again, if you're at a very high level, like Wim Hof, sort of, if you're,
Hmm.
it's not
Can
such a
override it.
problem. But in general, no. With the Taoist practices, you're looking for a happy, comfortable medium, a balanced without extreme, without these extremes of emotions. We know cause problems. Extremes of anything cause problems. So
Hmm.
whatever is, if you feel a bit more open with your body, if you feel a bit more open with your mind, if you feel a little bit more grounded, these are
Hmm.
good signs that what you're doing is right. And if you feel more tense in your mind, if you're, now I'm not talking about going to the gym for a couple of times, but if your body is habitually feeling contracted and painful, maybe think about what you're doing with that
Yeah,
exercise. If your body
like
is
not doing
telling
any
you
at all.
something, listen to
Well,
your
it
body.
stops you from doing it, doesn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah. But you know what
That's why I'm not.
overrides that? Our mind. Our mind is so powerful, it can destroy our body. I mean, how weird is that when you think about it? But that is how powerful
Yes,
the
I know.
mind,
It's
that is
crazy.
how powerful the lies of the mind. Now, in Chinese medicine, well, for instance, they say all disease begins in the mind. Now,
This is
that
it.
I don't just mean little mind with a small
The
m.
gut.
Yeah, it can be the
Oh,
gut, but if we big mind, sem yi, we could say in Tibetan, it's the all whatever we might be is connected to the greater, bigger mind, or
yeah.
how
So
we
our mind is out here. So you actually,
much outside as there is
we
inside.
access our thoughts almost.
Well,
They were
that's right. The
saying
Chinese
that
would
day
actually say
that you
that's
can
right.
access them outside because they're
That's
out
right.
here and visit.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
crazy stuff.
it is. Well, that was a
Thank
lot of
you.
fun.
That was brilliant. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Oh,
Have a lovely
thank you
day.
so much. Thank you, Emily. It's
Cheers,
been really, really
Patrick.
cool. I
All
appreciate it.
right.
All right.
Thank
All
you.
the best. Thanks a
Bye.
lot. Bye.